get started, I'm going to do a couple of announcements really quick that we do on all of our calls, and then we're going to get started with Kalan. So I want to make sure that you guys know about Ops Boss Leader Retreat before prices go up again. So we'll drop the link in there. That's our annual retreat for operations leaders only, October 6th through 8th. We have our next Coffee with Christy in August is going to be Don't Let the Crooks Boss You Around. And I think it's going to be a really great session. We have a member of the Secret Service coming to talk to us about fraud and how to protect our clients from fraud. And it's an updated version, I think, that includes some of the things that they're starting to see with artificial intelligence that's happening with our clients. So that will be great. That's free. So please join us August 8th. Our brand new class, low cost, high return client and recruiting events is coming out also in August. And then we've got Systems Are Sexy. Our only virtual option before the end of the year is in September. And another brand new class, Practically a Boss, coming out in September. And then 10 Secrets of a Mega EA in October. If you've already been to the classes, share them with others. And if you haven't been to the classes, we'd love you to join us. Our group coaching promo is happening right now as well. So if you have people looking for coaching, you might want to check that out. And I think that's everything. Brooke will drop all the links in here. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Christy Belt Grossman. I'm the owner of Ops Boss Coaching. We're really happy to have you here. Today is Coffee with Christy and Crew, and our topic is Entrepremarriage. Hopefully I said that properly. And I want you to know this is not a class. This is not a presentation. This came from our coaches masterminding, and our coaches have a really great network in terms of masterminding with each other. And we thought we'll just start masterminding with whoever wants to join us and share the wisdom. So one of our coaches is Jessica Hubbard, who is an awesome operations coach. She's one of our elite coaches. And her husband, Kalan Hubbard, is a national speaker and has coined the term entrepremarriage. And Kalan, thank you for being with us. I'm going to ask you to just introduce yourself. Tell us a little about you. Where are you? What do you do? All of that stuff.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on here. I'm super excited to be here, super excited to share and learn from some feedback with all of you as well. Yeah, I am in Southwest Missouri, in Joplin, Missouri. And super excited to go down this journey with you today about entrepreneurship. It's a big passion of mine. Jessica and I have worked together for the last 8 years, and we came from very different worlds when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. She came from a family of entrepreneurs, and I came from a family of, for lack of a better term, W-2 employees that worked for a company or an organization. And so when we got together, we saw business and time and income in very different lights. And then we started working together, and, marriage is tough already, and marriage is just tough in general. And then you throw a business in the middle of it, and it becomes, an even bigger thing that has to be done intentionally. So we've learned a lot over the years because of that. And I'm super excited to just share with anybody else. If I can make a difference in, one relationship out there, then it accomplishes the goal of the day. So
I love the intentionality around it. That, we are so intentional about our businesses. Those of us who are business owners and even W-2 employees, whatever you are, we're very intentional about our business, but sometimes we're not as intentional about our relationships or our family or those things. So I love that aspect of it. I'm going to ask those of you who are joining us on the Zoom to just comment in the chat. Tell me why are you here? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a salaried employee? Are you married to an entrepreneur? Are you experiencing some challenges or any pain points? Just tell us, kind of give us a little bit of input in the chat. I think that would be helpful, and that'll help Kalan as well. And then we're going to go ahead and dive in. So, entrepremarriage. What is that word? What does it mean? Where did it come from?
So the phonics of it, entrepreneur and marriage, as they blend together, it kind of symbolizes what happens in a marriage that has any part or any version of entrepreneurship in it. I think there's a lot of people out there that think they can really keep their business and their marriage separate. And the fact of the matter is that they're just going to blend together. That's all there is to it. And they can blend together in good ways, and they can either blend together or they can bleed together, one or the other. And you can use the things that make you really good in your business, like you said, being intentional, setting goals, having tough conversations. You can use a lot of those things that make you great as a business owner or someone who's just running a company or an organization. You can use a lot of those tools to live an amazing marriage, whether it be, very granular things as far as setting very precise goals, or it's on a larger scale of having some big conversations that guide you on where you're going over the next 6 months or a year to 2 years. So my goal in it is to find the things that you're really good at in a business and see where they can help you on the marriage side. So that we, in our workshops and talks and things we do, we kind of always focus on two aspects. One, your perspective on marriage and your perspective on how your business affects your marriage. And then what are the tools that you can input and put into place and put, structures and systems, just like you do in your business, into
systems.
Just like, say that system word again. Yeah, because we know systems are sexy, as the class goes. So, one of the things that in our talks or in our workshops is we put some tools together, and then I always ask them, okay, how are you going to circle back to this? Do we need to text your spouse right now? Do we need to put it on both your calendars? These things I'm giving you are meant to start conversations. When is that first conversation going to happen? Tell me when that day is, or tell me, where you're putting it on the calendar to make sure that first initial next step happens. Instead of
we're all about action. Everybody that joins us, I see lots of ops boss faces. Everybody's nodding. Yes, we're all about getting into action here. So let me just give you, Kalan, I want to give you a couple of the comments from the chat so you have it. We have Monique is a real estate agent, and her husband has his own construction business. Penny said, my husband and I are real estate business owners working on our team together. It's difficult to keep the marriage a priority over the business. Sarah says, salaried employee on same team as entrepreneur husband. Pain point is after hours accessibility for work related stuff and setting those boundaries. Hester said she is operations manager for a team. Husband also got his real estate license, helping him build his business as an individual agent, trying to figure out how to use our skills to launch our own opportunities outside of the regular job. Pain point, balancing our opportunities without crushing our marriage and family. I think those are probably fairly representative. So let's start with, as business owners and people in love with business owners, or however you want to phrase it, why do we need to approach marriage differently?
Well, when I look at it, I look at it from two different aspects. Number one, there's just the stats behind it. For you see personalities out there that love a good spreadsheet and things like that. If you just look at marriage on a spectrum in general, okay, these are all the marriages out there right now. Statistically, just under half of those marriages end in divorce, unfortunately, right now in our country. And half of those, so a quarter of all of the marriages, half of those end in divorce with one of the people never seeing it coming. It happens so often in marital counseling and therapy circles. They call it SDS, sudden divorce syndrome. And that's when someone gets served and had no idea that the relationship had gotten to that point. They meant, we've got issues, but everybody's got issues. So we've got issues, but they're not that bad. And then the next thing they know, they've got papers in front of them, and they never saw it coming. Half of the marriages end that way, which just blows my mind. So you've got these, but when you throw a business ownership or entrepreneurial activities in there, those shift even bigger, and that under half goes to 55%. If both people are entrepreneurs, it approaches 60%. And that SDS number also rises as well. And when I think about that, I think, okay, there's the stats, and the stats are there. And then I think about entrepreneurship in a marriage, and it kind of makes sense how people could fall into it. When you think about it, you look at just your marriages, you ask those same marital counselors and therapists and things, what do people say, cause their divorce? Time commitment, lack of being valued, money, stress around money, stress around time management, stress around being valued under the business, or over the business, or the business being valued over, another person. But actually, no, that's on the business. But without the business, those are the normal things that lead to divorce in marriages. A business will put stress on all of those, almost every single one of them. If you have your marriage and you've got those top 4 stresses, and then you start a business, boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's going to mess with time.
So it's going to exacerbate it in every single area.
It just is.
Yeah,
so if
I
you're
see
not
multiple
careful and
people
intentional,
nodding heads. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, all of us here have gone through that emotion of, I wish I had more time for the family, or I wish I had more time for my spouse. I wish my spouse would. It's tough to be that spouse that sees someone prioritize something so large and then there starts the comparison. Well, are they prioritizing me? Are they prioritizing
money's
the
more
business?
important than me? The business is more
Mhm.
important than spending time with my kids, like all of the things. Yeah. So we're kind of getting into that next question of common pitfalls.
Yeah. And I think the common pitfall, I think, is like we talked about before. It's the same pitfalls of business. It's lack of intentionality. It's lack of awareness that this has to be addressed. We have to be intentional. We have to both put the effort in. All the things that drive us in business. It's amazing how many business owners, and I'll put myself in that category. I know how to set goals. I know how to have tough conversations. And then I get home and I'm kind of done with goals. That's it. Some days, I'm kind of done with these tough conversations. But you have to prioritize. Okay, I need to have some energy into the relationship. The lack of intentionality usually shows up in lack of conversations and lack of a plan. And that's what.
So I'm gonna fast forward you, because I think I see lots of heads nodding. People are totally relating to the challenges. I think that's why people are on this call, because we know we have. I mean, how many of you related to any of those things that he was just talking about? Lack of time, stress with money, stress with you're taking, you don't value me, all the things. Let's move into some of the tools and things that we can do if we really do want to be intentional about our partnership with the person that I love most in the world.
Yeah. So 2 of my favorite exercises to go through are based around being intentional on making sure that we have clarity. I mean, clarity is just like in business. Clarity will eliminate a lot of assumptions, a lot of confusion, a lot of hurt feelings based on those assumptions and confusion. So, the same activities we use in business. Okay. A SWOT analysis, made that post yesterday.
I love
how many of us have done a SWOT analysis? So strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. But I think it's really big for a couple to do that analysis separate. You do it, let them do it, fill it out, be brutally honest, be as honest, and then that's a big part of it, be as honest as you can, do them separate, then come together. And it's a page check. Are we on the same page? Are we seeing the same things the same way? I can't remember who it was, but there's a guy quoted about marriage is about seeing things together, not seeing things the same. So I don't need to see the same way as my wife does. I just want to be looking at the same thing that she is, and I'll bring my perspectives and she can bring her perspectives, but we need to be looking at the same things and discussing, this is how I see it, this is how you see it. Okay, what are the differences there? What's causing those differences? So
I love the idea of the SWOT analysis applied to a relationship, because I'm thinking about Brooke, and a couple of our coaches are on the call. I'm thinking about when we did SWOT analysis as a team, I can't remember when we did it. It was a few months ago. We did a SWOT analysis. And I think as a couple, you often, when you're struggling, you guys all gave us kind of some of your pain points. You tend to focus, even in business, we're all focused on maybe production's down right now. You focus on the challenges and the negative side. And what came out of our SWOT analysis was a lot of energy, a lot of positivity, a lot of creativity, a lot of problem solving, and a lot of really positive momentum. And if you take that and apply it to your marriage, where you have these challenge areas, and now we can have this conversation about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and come out with positive momentum, like that's a really tangible. I just love that idea. I'd never thought of that before, of doing that.
And it's not crazy complicated, big process you have to go through. There's 4 boxes, fill all 4 boxes in, and then agree to have a conversation where everyone's feelings matter, everyone's opinions matter. And if someone, quote, disagrees, it's tough to disagree saying that they are seeing something wrong. So you have to approach that conversation with, okay, I'm just going to accept this is how they currently see it. That's how they see it. Whether you agree they should see it doesn't really matter. Whether you agree that you think that it's their fault that they see it one way or the other. No, that doesn't matter. The fact is, that's how they see it. End of story. Now let's move forward of, okay, what are the differences? What is causing both of us to see things so differently, if there are those differences? And then, like you said, find those opportunities and those strengths and live there. Live there for a hot minute and see what you can accomplish and what you can dig into and do, and let that be energizing.
As you say that, you were talking about taking tools that we use in business and are we applying them to our relationships? One of the things that has been really awesome, my husband and I had just happened to celebrate our 40th anniversary last weekend. And obviously I own my own business as well, but I didn't become self-employed until I was in my 50s. So this is all a little bit newer for me as well. But doing behavioral profiles, I think, kind of falls into that. Like, do strength finders or do your DISC and verify them with the other person. I know when Bill and I did strength finders, his number one strength, one of his top 5 is positivity. And I'm like a hole poker. Right? We're completely opposite. And now I have so much awareness around when I'm hole poking that comes naturally. I'm like, sometimes I got to rein that in a little bit because that feels negative to him. There's no right or wrong. It's just about communication. So I love that, Kalan. Anything else on that, on the SWOT and whatever you said? You had 2 tools.
So a thing that goes along with kind of a great tool that starts a lot of good conversations around clarity is a lot of business owners have an organizational chart. BOD, here's the CEO, here's the accountant, here's HR, here's this. Do one on your family. Who's the logistics? Who's the accountant? Who's this? Do one of those, because it's going to do 2 things. A, it's going to start those conversations of just awareness and clarity. Are we in our strengths? Right? This is where I am, but I don't want to be here. This is a thing I do for our family. This drives me bonkers. Can we make a change here? And Jessica and I talk in those roles a lot since we work together. We talk in those roles. And what I mean by that is we kind of have a structure of stating where, especially when we have tough news or it's going to be a rough conversation or possibly a sensitive conversation. She was, for a long time, and she still is, she's the CEO of our real estate company. And, she had to come to me and say, I need to have a conversation with you, not as your wife. This is the CEO of Hubbard Realty Group, and I need to talk to our lead listing agent. These are the two people in this conversation. This is not a wife and husband conversation right now. Okay, so as the CEO, here's where we are. Here's what I need from you. Here's what I've been getting. Here's how we need to get over here, And I took that so much better, knowing, okay, this is Jessica and her CEO. This is me as the listing. This is not, me letting her down as a husband. Okay, this is me. I need to be in this role, and I need to take it in this role. When we set those roles up at home, I've had to come to her and say, hey, as the accountant of the family, I know you want to go do this, or you want to make this purchase, or you want to go do this. As your husband, it's a yes, I would love to be able to. I would love to. As your accountant, that's a hard no. That's a hard no. But as your husband,
it's funny that you say that. I literally had that conversation with her earlier this week. I heard the flip side of that, and that sounds like whoa, that's a little bit tough. She actually loved that because she's like, I hate looking at the numbers. I don't want to know all that stuff, but I need Kalan to tell me when I can and when I can't do what I want to do. And she goes, he loves me so much. He wants me to buy everything because he just wants me to be so happy. But I need him to be the CFO of our company or the accountant or whatever. So she loved the flip side of it. She's not here to speak for herself. So we'll speak for her.
I have a hard time telling her no. The accountant can tell her no all day.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get to be the accountant and I say, honey, that's a no. But on the husband side, I can say, okay, as a family, let's talk about some changes we can make so that the accountant can give you better news. And I can help her with that on the husband side.
I love that. So an organizational chart almost, or an org list of roles and responsibilities within the family is super helpful. Love that.
A lot of people in our workshops, I can just see just people's wheels turning when we talk about that. And I can see a lot just experience with talking with different couples that might be having struggles and stuff. And our culture puts a lot of emotional labor on the female in most male-female relationships. And almost every female-male relationship I've seen fill that out. Those manager spots are very female heavy. I take care of this. And one of the big things,
the money,
exactly.
Those of you who are women on the call. Yeah.
Yeah. When the school needs something, they don't call the dad. They call mom first. I mean, and that's a cultural thing that in my opinion, we need to fix and we need to address and we need to talk about, but I think if a relationship chooses to set that up, the other spouse, if whoever's the manager, that other spouse is automatically the assistant manager. And what I mean by that, we are planning for vacation right now. Jessica is definitely our logistics manager. She can plan. She's logistics. It drives me crazy. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't want to, no, just tell me where we're going. I'll be there and let's go. But she knows at any time she can give me a chunk that I can take, go do, and bring back. She said, hey, we're going to be in this city from this date to this date. We need a rental car. I need you to take rental car and come back with a couple options. Great. I don't have to plan everything. But as the assistant logistic manager, I got the rental car numbers. Here are 3 options. Which one you want? She says, let's go with that one. Great. Awesome. But I was able to help her take away from this big, huge project if she could just take bits and parts and give to me like a good manager. I mean, it's just like in business, know when to delegate and be clear with that.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is if we can become more proactive versus reactive, becoming proactive takes the emotionality or the emotion out of decisions. So if we've talked about things ahead of time, like I see, Bethany, I see you on the call. Bethany's got a brand new baby. if we've talked about who's getting up with the baby in the middle of the night before we go to bed, it's a lot easier than when we're laying there in the middle of the night going, no, you get her. Like, I can't do that. So if you decide ahead of time who's going to be the one to take care of the kids when the school calls, who's going to, be the one to handle fighting with the insurance company about your medical bills, or, whatever the things are, it takes a little bit of the emotion out of it.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of that proactiveness, the what gets in the way of being proactive a lot of times is a tough conversation, or what is perceived to be as, hey, this is going to be a tough conversation. I don't know how to start it. I don't know where to take it. I don't know how to bring it up without hurting this person. But that conversation, that tough conversation, I had a good friend and mentor and coach say, when we were talking about, he was coaching us through some business things, and he told Jessica, the success of your business will be directly related to the amount of tough conversations you're willing to have. And that has stuck with me. Now he said the success of your business will be directly related to the amount of tough conversations you're willing to have. But that business should just be a blank. The success of your marriage, the success of your finances, the success of your business, the success of the relationship with your father, relationship with your sister, whatever, you could put so many things in that blank, will be directly related to the amount of tough conversations. Not that you're willing to win, not that you're willing to dominate, that you're willing to control, that you're willing to suffer through, just willing to have. If you are willing to have that conversation, the success of whatever was at the front has crazy potential.
So this is not one of our, we didn't talk about this when we prepared for the call, but as you're talking through that, I wonder, in the study that you've done, the observation that you've done, and your personal experience, what things do you see work in having those tough conversations, and what things have not worked? Any tips on that?
So I would say, first, establishing where you're coming from, like we talked about. If it's in that interpersonal, if it's about business, then you can use those roles of, hey, like I said, as the accountant, as a member of the board of directors, however you want to say it. But establishing some very safe parameters ahead of time. I remember earlier on in our relationship, Jessica and I figured out that because of some of the things in my past relationships, I needed to know up front from the very beginning that we were going to be okay, that she wasn't leaving, or I wasn't, being forced to leave. So, we've had conversations where Jessica has started with, okay, we're going to have a tough conversation. I need you to know, like, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. Okay. And just got me in a safe place first. And then at that point, I'm like, you can throw whatever you want at me. You can throw a cannonball at me. Like, we're going to be fine. Okay. Now I'm in a spot where we can have this conversation. So that's going to look different for a lot of different relationships, but figuring out what you need to be safe before that conversation starts, and then coming back to that at the end, after, whether that's a 10-minute conversation or a 3-hour conversation, ending with, we're okay. We're going to be okay.
You know what?
That stunk. That was a bad conversation, but
you put the onus on you to know what makes you feel safe, and then to share that with your partner, as opposed to the expectation of your partner figuring out or just knowing what you need to feel safe. You know what you needed. You told Jess what you needed, and then she was able to give it back to you. Because I think I see in marriage a lot of times there are expectations that the spouse or the partner should know what makes you feel safe, but we've never actually articulated to them what it is.
And that's tough. I mean, we were married a couple of years before I came to that, to where I had some self-discovery about my own self and realized, wow, this is a big thing for me. I mean, and we've talked about it now, looking back, and I can tell her, I can tell you these conversations, I went into that conversation thinking you were leaving. And she was like, oh, I never had thoughts of leaving. Are you serious? You know, and so that conversation was set up with, from the get-go, we were looking at it so differently. You know, if we would have had those parameters set up ahead of time, earlier, you know, even earlier, those conversations probably would have went, you know, a lot different. But, you know, she helped me discover that, you know, through conversations and, you know, different personality tests and, you know, all kinds of those things. But there's it's amazing how much you can help the other person by figuring your own self out, you know? And that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I just thought that was an excellent demonstration. I'm looking through the comments that people wrote about their pain points. And one of the things that occurs to me as you were talking about, you know, take a SWOT analysis, take an organizational chart, things, goal setting, things we do in our business. Ops bosses, like what's the thing we talk about a million times till everyone's tired about it, is we talk about time blocking, right? We all talk about time blocking our work. Are we time blocking before we even time block our work? Are we time blocking? I'm just looking at Sarah's question and Hester's question, and I'm like, have you time blocked, you know, your weekly date? Have you time blocked when you're working on business? What my husband and I used to commute together. We were both back in the day in banking, and we would end up talking all the time for hours after we got home from work because we commuted together. And we finally had to make a rule that when we cross the Potomac River, because I live in the DC area, when we cross the Potomac River, we can't talk about work anymore. That was our rule, because so we had to put in those time block parameters. Did you have any other tools you want to share, Kalan, before we're going a little bit over, but I'm going to keep going. I know you guys, we told you 3 to 3:30. Kalan, are you good for a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We time block on the fly at times, and meaning if we've got something, you know, things come up and, you know, let's say we're going to dinner, but there's things that we will feel better getting this off our chest before, you know, we get to dinner. So, you know, we've said, hey, we're going to talk about this when we get to that parking lot. You know, we need to be done. And sometimes I've told Jessica, hey, when we get there, I need to be done. I need this to be done. Like, we can talk about it and let's hash it out. And, you know, if we need to stay in the car a little bit when we get there, but when we get out of this car and to walk in, we need to be done. And she's been real good about, you know, there's times where I could tell she wants another 20 minutes, but she also knows, hey, if I tell you I need this, I really, really need this, you know. And that doesn't mean it's end of conversation. We can pick it up tomorrow, but we time block on the fly. It seems at times on top of our normal, like, hey, you know, Thursday night is for us. But when we do that on the fly, we both understand that if it's enough where the other person is speaking up, then we need to be good with that time block. There's no sense of arguing that time block. Oh, I need more. I know, or we should talk about this more. If they're saying they need it, then they need it.
Yeah, because it's probably hard for them to set that boundary in the first place because you want to please your spouse. Before we go any further, I want to mention Kalan actually does workshops and he speaks. And we were talking the other day, I know a lot of you guys are looking for ideas for client events. You're looking for ideas for to support the community events. So Kalan does come in, and I think it's a great idea for you guys. Probably have lots of clients who are business owners, and you probably have a lot of you live in communities where you want to be in relationship with the small business owners. So if you want to reach out to Kalan, how do they reach out to you if they're curious about more information?
A couple different ways. You can find me on, Facebook, Instagram at Kalan Speaks. You can give me a call. I'll give you my number, Brooke, if you want to throw this in the chat so they have it. She's got my email there in the chat, Kalan@kalanhubbard.com, but 417-262-6378. 262-6378. I saw that look of
And if
give
you
me a
guys have
call, give me a
questions
text.
for Kalan, do you want to just go ahead and drop them in the chat now? If you have any kind of
Yeah.
specific questions, it doesn't have to be about what we've talked about. It can be about anything, because I know this is a really broad topic. We could probably talk hours about.
I
So-
would love to hear your ahas in the chat as well, or if you want to voice them, if anybody wants to just tell. It's great for me. I love to hear what sticks, because it's all bouncing around up here. So I love to hear what sticks for any of you all out there.
Awesome. Anybody have any takeaways? And you know what? We're a super small group. If you guys have questions or ahas, either one, just unmute yourself. We'd love to hear them. That way people watching back can hear them too.
Hey guys, I love starting the conversation with the position you're trying to represent. Like, hey, as the accountant, I probably need to give that to my husband because I sound like Jessica in this scenario. But I just think that's really smart to set that expectation. Like, I'm coming to you as this person versus as your wife. And I think that's very helpful. That was a big aha.
Cool. Thank you.
Love that. Yeah, Tanya said she really loves speaking from the role also. Who else had an aha or a question? We had a couple in the chat. We have some SWATs that are going to be taking place. Lauren loves SWAT for
Great.
relationships. Sarah Lowe, I'm excited to do the SWAT analysis. If those of you who are listening back or who haven't done SWAT before, if you just Google SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, it'll give you the questions. Part of it is meant for internally and part of it is external. So it's a super easy process. Be great for your teams if you haven't done it either. Anybody else have questions or comments?
I saw Coco go unmuted there for a minute. So now I'm going to say, I saw that. Yeah. She was like, oh, no one saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
So what was sticking to me was the making the organization chart for the family. I think that actually came up with in a different conversation before too, but we just really never did it. I also didn't type in the background because, like, me, but for the rest of the group, we just got married a couple of years ago and I got 3 kids. We both have our own businesses. So there's a lot of like, okay, who does what here going on in our family here. So is there like a good template to start the family org chart?
It's a great question.
Because what we found is we're all on top of each other and giving certain people different roles, and sometimes those roles aren't suited for them, but they got to step up, or it's like, oh, do it, but I don't feel comfortable and I'll do it. So
Absolutely. I'm actually, our team is working on that and it is due today, actually. So we are tweaking it, but again, being intentional. There's a few things I've been working on. That one is one that is due today. So I know you guys, I know I can get it to you. I don't know if Christy, if there's a way that once I get that format, it is essentially a modified org chart for family and for marriage. I don't know if there's a way that you can kick it out.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Once you have it and have it uploaded somewhere, we can share the link.
Great.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I love that.
And I love your green Hubbard Realty Group shirt, Isaac.
that's all my shirts.
I think, when there's 2 entrepreneurs, I think it doubles the challenges and it doubles the opportunity for connection.
Absolutely.
I really, like we talked, I want to kind of maybe wrap that up and tie it with the bow at the end, being the old lady on the call here. We talked about all the challenges and the risks and the numbers, the divorce rates and all that stuff up front. And like any other crisis in marriage, I don't consider business a crisis, but the effects of it can be crisis. There's no middle ground. You're going to go this way or this way. You're going to go farther apart or closer together. And your choice to be intentional will bring you, I believe, and I've experienced, a much closer relationship, whether that's in business in your marriage or whatever. So I think I love that you're bringing this intentionality in, because that puts you in the driver's seat to choose that we are going to get closer together through all of this. Doesn't mean it's easy. It's not easy, but it's worthwhile.
Amen.
So thank you guys all for joining us. And I hope, if you want to hear more from Kalan, keep an eye out for his workshops or bring him in. And Kalan, thank you for joining us. And we will see you maybe next month. Next month, Coffee with Christy on, I don't remember the date, August 8th. Don't let the crooks boss you around, with a Secret Service guy coming to talk to us. So have a great week, everybody. Have a great relationship. And I love to hear any ahas. Message me, those of you who are doing SWOT analysis, and share with us, if you're in our Facebook group, what came out of that. Have a great week, guys.
Thank you all.